Hello again, I'm Norleen Hunter from Colombo, greeting you on the Sri Lanka Morning Show. As most of you are aware, this is another sad time for the entertainment world. The passing of another one of our legendary entertainers, Desmond de Silva. Desmond was an iconic legend who made a massive impact in Sri Lanka and in many countries in which he performed. His contribution to music as a singer and as an entertainer is legendary. Today, we reminisce and celebrate the life of this iconic entertainer by meeting some of his friends and colleagues whose lives were impacted by him and others who shared the same stage with him. We first meet someone who was closely associated with Desmond in his recordings and performances here in Sri Lanka. The popular singer and songwriter Rajiv Sebastian. Over to you, Rajiv.
I got to know Desmond de Silva through Steve de Silva in 1994 at the Hilton lobby because Steve and I were playing with our bands. Since then, I managed to convince him when I happened to arrange music for an album called Gramophone Express, which was my concept. So since then we were very close, and I managed to convince him to do a concert during the same year, that was year 2000, where I coordinated. Since then we have done many recordings, and I am yet to release 3 of his albums. We had a final conversation on 2nd January, which was about 1 week before. For me, I had 2 heroes musically, the legendary Clarence Vijayawardena and the legendary Desmond de Silva. He very well knew that. And I enjoyed every minute working with him. So many recordings, performances overseas, and concerts in Sri Lanka as well. I'm sure we all in the showbiz industry will miss him very badly.
Thank you, Rajiv. And now we meet a very talented musician and singer who is now resident in the United States and is very active in the music scene in Los Angeles, Rohan Mendes. And here are Rohan's impressions of Desmond.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to say a few words about my great friend Desmond de Silva, who is an extraordinary entertainer. Being in the music field, we were puppies when Desmond started, and I was so glad that during the latter part of my career, I got to know him, especially during the last decade or so. Roseanne and I had the privilege of meeting you both, Phyllis and Desmond. You have visited us in our humble abode. We had a few drinks. We talked about a lot of stuff. Desmond, you will never be ever forgotten, man. You are an icon. You are a legend. I am so sorry that you had to leave so soon, but that's what life is all about. I am so glad that I got the opportunity to see you and meet you and experience and talk about all our musical past. Desmond, I'm sure that you're with a lot of good friends up there with God. And my last sentiment is that you will always be an icon in Sri Lanka and you will never be forgotten. And also, may your soul rest in blissful peace in musical heaven, plus, of course, with Jesus. I love you, man. Adios for now.
Rohan Mendes, the lead singer and bassist of the former hit group in Sri Lanka, Apple Green. And now here's a lady who needs absolutely no introduction to any of you. She has shared the stage with Desmond on innumerable occasions. Here's Corrine Almeida reminiscing about Desmond.
I met Desmond in the early 90s, the time I started working with the Gypsies. From that time up until last month, we had very close contacts. We have worked on numerous occasions. Before meeting him, actually, I was a great fan of his because his kind of music was always played, heard, and danced to at many family functions and parties. So when I got to know him and started working with him, I felt so lucky and blessed and so honored. And it was a great pleasure to be working and being with him on that same stage. It meant a lot to me. I learned so much as an entertainer, as a singer, musician. I've learned so much from him. We've shared a lot of good memories. I remember working with him on numerous occasions in and outside Sri Lanka. I remember we toured Paris, just him and me. We had concerts together. In Paris, in Dubai, in Melbourne, in Sydney, many dinner dances and concerts. So I would always carry great memories with Desmond. He was such a jolly, happy, fun-loving person to be around. The Desmond I knew from the early 90s up until the time he died. The Desmond I knew lived a super life, a fantastic life, as far as I know. So, dear darling, dearest darling Desmond, until we meet again, rest easy, dear brother. Goodbye.
Desmond has impacted the lives of many Sri Lankan singers, songwriters, music producers, promoters, and the list goes on. Damian, the CEO of DK Promotions, was responsible for organizing and presenting a number of shows and concerts starring Desmond. Here's what Damiantha has to share about this legend.
The experience with Desmond was in 2006 when I presented the Spitfires reunion concert, and then in 2013 I had the opportunity of presenting his 50th anniversary concert called The Journey. And following that, I presented the rhythms of Sri Lanka and a blend of Sri Lankan music, which were two great, very successful concerts. And the most significant concert was presented in 2019 to celebrate Desmond's 75th birthday. The concert was called A Celebration with Desmond Silva. And also we have done some sing-alongs together. Working with Desmond was a joy. He was an absolute gentleman, true professional, and a person with a unique personality. I would reckon that his stage personality was probably the best that Sri Lanka has ever seen. And Desmond, I wish to thank you for all the entertainment that you have provided over the years, and may your soul rest in peace.
Desmond and I have shared the same stage on many occasions, an association that began as early as 1969, when I first met Des as a nervous teenager while recording my hit song, The City of Colombo, many moons ago, of course. In fact, Des backed me up by singing the harmony lines on that song. The City of Colombo was released on an EP which also featured a hit by Desmond titled Soul Believer. Since those early days, I have had the pleasure of performing with Desmond and sharing the stage on an umpteen number of occasions in Sri Lanka and overseas in London, Melbourne, and Sydney. Desmond was the lead male vocalist with the top-ranked group of the 60s and 70s in Sri Lanka, the Spitfires. At that time, he was already on his way to capturing the hearts of millions of Sri Lankan fans, prior to embarking on an international career in the UK, the USA, and later in Australia, which gave him an indelible name as an entertainer par excellence. I was also part of the vocal lineup of the Spitfires a few years after Desmond left the group. One of my vivid memories of Des was at the more recent Spitfires reunion concert, where he virtually directed the show, gently guiding all those by now famous and professional artists, the former Spitfires, circled around the world to give of their very best in a seamless show that brought the house down. Desmond de Silva was a sensational singer and one of the greatest entertainers of our time. His passing has left an irreplaceable void in the world of music. And now we move on to hear what the very talented multi-instrumentalist, singer and composer Melantha Pereira reminisces about Desmond.
Hi everyone. I still can't believe what has taken place. With a heavy heart, I just want to speak a few words about Desi Boy. First ever opportunity to see Mr. Desmond de Silva on stage takes me back nearly 48 years. That performance is still alive in my mind. I became his hardcore fan and he's still the best for me. On and off, I happened to see him appearing on state TV, but never got a chance to talk to him. In 2001, we had the opportunity to back him as I was in Dubai. Then our friendship grew from strength to strength, and whenever I go to Sydney, I had the privilege of staying at his residence because he won't let me stay at any other place. That was our friendship. He took time and he made sure that he makes his famous Mathara green symbol for me. He was very proud of that. We were involved in so many projects that I did, and he never hesitated to support me. In 2019, I was so happy that I chose my hero to launch the notation system that I have invented. Hopefully, I could release the video of that launch where you could see him playing one of his tunes on guitar. There's a song that I have sung with the late Sunil and Desmond, which we were not being able to release it due to the pandemic. When I invited both of them to do the song with me, I told both of them, I want to sing with you all because I want to be famous like you all. Whatever I said, both tolerated me because I was very younger to them. I still remember the day I mentioned him about Sunil's demise. He paused for a moment and said, you better release that song because you never know what will happen tomorrow. Today, they have left me and I could only cherish the memories that are left for me. I'm sure that I will have their blessings releasing this song. For this Christmas, a lot of musicians got together singing a Christmas song, and Desi Boy never hesitated to appear on that. I'm always thankful to Phyllis. She had been the pillar of strength, and I can't imagine how she's gonna face this. I know she will be strong for Desi Boy and make sure the final goodbye will be in grand style. I believe nothing lasts forever, but gone too soon. My final words to you. Goodbye, Desi Boy. I love you.
And now, over in Melbourne, Australia, we meet Esrik Jackson, who together with his late wife Sandra had a very close relationship with Desmond. Here's Esrik.
This is Esrik Jackson from Replay 6. This will have to be one of the saddest days in Melbourne with the sad news of a legend, a true legend, the passing of Desmond de Silva. What a great entertainer he was. We had the privilege of playing with Desmond a number of times, sharing the stage. And one thing that comes to mind, when he got on the stage, he owned the stage. And he had that charisma about him that he brought it across in his performance. Great, great, great memories. Sandra and myself had the pleasure of being with such a wonderful man. He made our home his home when he was in Melbourne performing. And the awesome time we had together, getting to know a lot of friends and enjoying every moment of it. But like they say, every good thing must come to an end. And it was absolutely a sad day for all Sri Lankan Melbournians to see such a great man leave this earth. But we got to look at it like this. He's gone to a better place and he's with the Lord. Enjoy Desmond in heaven. We will miss you so badly that there will never be another Desmond, a true legend who represented Sri Lanka in every way. Take care and God bless you. Rest in peace, my good friend. Thank you.
Another singer who has worked very closely with Desmond during much of her career so far is Mariazelle Gunatilaka. Here's Maria now to mainly talk about her early days with Desmond. Mariazelle.
I'd like to say a few words about our dear friend Desmond, who left us so suddenly and so shockingly a couple of days ago. I got to know Desmond when he was with the Spitfires, and more so after I won the Observer Talent Search in 1970. This memory is stuck in my mind because I remember Desmond following me to my father, who was standing a little distance away from the stage, and this was after I won, and he walked up to my father and he said, "Sir, is this your daughter?" And my father looked at him very skeptically, wondering probably whether I had been mischievous or naughty and done something displeasing. But he said, "You know, sir, this girl is very talented and she will one day make it big." And this memory stuck in my mind, and I always remembered and treasured it. And after that, of course, I continued my path, and Desmond was a huge name even at that time. And he left the Spitfires, and then he moved on to the Breakaways, I believe, and then from there he started his own band, Desmond and the Clan. And after a few years of him being with the Clan and being overseas on tour, when he came back, one day I was invited to do a duet with him, a recorded duet with him. That was my first duet with him. This was, I think, somewhere 82 or around there. And this was a sequel to Candy Lamisi. It was called Colombo Lamisi. So it was similar in with this humorous lyrics and stuff. And from there onwards, Des was a superstar even at that time, and for me, I was a little podian, and I would look at him with awe. I still do, but somehow our friendship blossomed, and we began to work more closely together somewhere around 2005 or 2006, when I began to do a lot of duets with him here in Sri Lanka. And I don't know why, but he picked on me, and he kind of like, he liked he liked the timbre of my voice.
Thank you, Mariazelle. And now, as we reach the end of this tribute to Desmond de Silva, I'd like to feature the dynamic leader, singer, and manager of the experiments, Sohan Veerasinghe, who sums it all up for us in a short and sweet message. Over to you, Sohan.
Let's celebrate the life and times of Mr. Desmond de Silva, the internationally famous Sri Lanka's #1 entertainer. There's so much we learn from him. There's one Desmond de Silva and there will never be another. Rest in peace, my friend. Goodbye.
Desmond de Silva's voice and his music will live on in our memory for eons to come. We salute him as a consummate master of entertainment and music. Thank you for the music, Desmond. And as I leave you today, I'd like to thank the contributors to our program who left us with memorable nuggets about Desmond. Yes, thank you, Rajiv, Rohan, Corrine, Damiantha, Esrik, Melantha, Mariazelle and Sohan for sharing your own memories of Desmond and his impact on the entertainment world. Thanks also to Nimal Alvis, the producer of this program on the Sri Lanka Morning Show, and my very special thanks to each and every one of you for watching the show live on TV over there in Melbourne and around the world on YouTube. I'm Nolene Hunter. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
There's no better place on earth. Yeah, I dream of you, Sri Lanka. Yeah, I pray for you, Sri Lanka.